I don't think we've done in any millennium. And that's the human race. It is convenient, it is low cost, and it is forgettable, isn't it? Well, I want you to start thinking about it. Stop forgetting what you're doing with your disposable bottle. And I want to especially congratulate the Serena Hotels. Why? Because I was here exactly a week ago at a similar event, bigger room, bigger, it was a big business event. And I said, don't invite me to slogan only or bumper sticker conferences where I tell you stuff is bad and then I drink from that plastic bottle. So between that day and today, they have gone to glass. Please look around you. I'm very impressed. So a big hand for this hotel. You have to start from the top. This is the most privileged elite hotel of the city. And if this doesn't start, then who will? It's not enough to say let change be driven at the grassroots. Grassroots is fighting for just staying alive right now. So lead by example, and that's something that PM House and PM Office and federal government will be doing. Starting today, we are also beginning the journey of letting go of easy to use and easy to throw away plastics. The bottle, I know it says PET and it's recyclable, but really, as people who can actually find alternatives, it's very, very important for us to not do so. I say this because I have very little information or a body of real, attestable, verifiable, audited knowledge or data on who's recycling what. So somewhere along today's line, somebody is telling me that Pakistan is recycling 30%. I'm sorry, how? No, that's the word. 9% is the word. And so suddenly we're beating standards. When you say you don't recycle 70, what does that tell you? I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist at math. So, no, I think we have to stop pretending that we are somehow recycling our plastics. They're all biodegradable. Somebody even said that they biodegrade. They do not. Who is telling you this? This is a complete canard. If 5% of, I'm sorry, if 10% of even the materials we use biodegrade in our lifetime, happy to change my last name to my husband's. And that's my ultimate bet. I'm still Sherry Rehman. It won't happen. You are being fooled, so are we. Now, it's our job to open our eyes and come out of our comfort zones and understand that we are the greatest polluters. No point blaming a big business. No. We have to make them partners in change. That's how constructive pathways are forged. And I thought about this very hard. Now that they're sharing knowledge with us, the big producers, manufacturers of plastic bottles, plastic products, whether it's PET or single use, are being made to share their knowledge, which they want. And I have a very senior additional secretary, Mujtaba, with me, who has been working on this for a long time and just ably represented us at the Great Paris Moot on banning plastics. That's a treaty coming up. I was there for the one day that we were needed, but I said all this. I said, I don't really buy that in 3 years plastics will be reduced. It's impossible to ban it. Speak of the possible, and then develop a roadmap for the probable and achievable. And in that context, if you just look at the numbers, you just Google the numbers, you'll see that plastics production is set to triple in the next 20, 30 years. It's going to triple. So the 2 K2 mountains of plastic trash that our data tells us we produce, I'm sure we produce more. We are a huge informal economy also. So that in and of itself, the 3.3 trillion tons, young man, you're way off the mark. We produce over 3.3 million metric tons of plastic, and these are government figures. So you can imagine how far we will be in a few years. And it is the developing world that will be using more and more of this low cost, easy to carry, low weight, forgettable, disposable option. It's not disposable. Everybody has to remember it's not disposable. What can we do about it? Sitting over here. Well, you come to Serena. Serena has actually done something about it. My ministry is actually, you have to start at home, stop the usage, and we now are seeking to intervene in the market. Before asking you to stop using stuff, we are intervening in the market. We have met with the producers and manufacturers, for the last 4 or 5 months. And they have promised to begin the journey. Every country has just begun a journey. No country is plastic free because we do not even know how much plastic and in what shape or form we use in our daily life, from the clothes you wear, to the mic I'm speaking into, probably the glass, everything. Plastics in some form or the other, whether it's biodegradable or not, most of it is not biodegradable. Who's collecting it to make? Is it withering away in your soil? It's not. Bottles, single use and others, and the bags that we're talking about that are endemic in all of South Asia, they don't die for 100 years. They live longer than you and me. And for all you know, some don't go away at all. So from those landfills, please let's just not forget about it anymore. When you're drinking that water, remember, now it's going to go where? It's going to go in your trash can somewhere. From there, is anyone collecting it? Are you seriously telling me someone's collecting it for one big recycling plant? Maybe they are. I'd love to see a picture of that. I really would like to see that. As a rule. Maybe there are, of course, exceptions. There are recycling plants out there, and people are intervening at the collection stage, which is the big companies that have committed to doing so. So yes, an investment in recycling and sorting, collecting, sorting, transporting, and actually processing that waste has to happen. It's a long process. It requires documentation, knowledge, behavior change, and an entire, sub-economy of circularity, which we don't have. So please, let's not tell each other that we're recycling. Why I'm saying it? Because until you do that, or unless you do that, and if you cannot, and if the rest of the world is only recycling 9%, and they're tripling their production and use, what are you going to do? You're going to get your oceans choking with the plastic? The Indus, which is the lifeline of the country, is already the second most polluted river in the world. And it's polluted with, guess what? Plastics and microplastics. Our fish in the Arabian Sea are now ingesting all sorts of microplastics. So it's ending up on your plate when you eat seafood. All over the world. That's the other circularity, the plastics. The dark side of plastics and circularity. It's another circle that is bringing toxins back into our entire system. We used it, it went somewhere else, it's landed back in our food, and then back in our bodies. That is circularity also. So that's a very dark side of plastics, and it has to be understood. It has to be understood in terms and scale of the magnitude of the damage it's doing. And why I'm doing this or advocating change is because you cannot police plastic usage, especially in a huge population. You cannot police plastic usage out of each other's lives. We can make the regulations, we can enforce the bans. They will become meaningless if people continue to use them and flout those bans. We do not, I'm going to be talk very clearly to you, we don't have the manpower or the resources to send police after you for using a polythene bag that's banned. Simple as that. And countries and civilizations that adopt change and take a little bit of pain to, obviously Serena must have taken some pain to change, make the change to glass, to drop the plastic. I know, I did it in my office long ago in my home. It takes a couple of weeks to get used to, but 30 years ago, the whole of Pakistan, like the rest of the world, was doing this. We were using glass bottles, boiling it, carrying it around like I'm carrying it around. It's a bore, but we were doing it. We were not using this disposable, forgettable, easy to consume and throw away instant gratification plastic. We weren't. So why can't we go back to that? Or to what our grandmothers used, the bag, the carrier bag to go shopping. They did it. It's organic, and that's what's needed. But we can't police plastics out of our culture and shops and homes. You will have to do it. Instead of being a passive consumer, you will have to intervene. After August 1st, when you see those banned items being used, you say, I won't drink the Coke or Pepsi from this bottle, from the plastic straw. It is no longer. You've had enough time, as per our agreements, to bring change. Did you read out the list of items being banned? Right. So, you know all those. And those are the easy to substitute items. It's not being enforced from top down. It is the result of a long, very deliberate conversation and dialogue with stakeholders and a knowledge-based research on what the region is doing, who's been successful, who's not. Because bans are not successful. I believe polythene bags were banned in Islamabad earlier. So the big shops are not using them. But all over the streets, the Karyana shop is alive and well with the use of plastic bags carrying milk and yogurt. The whole of South Asia, every morning there are men carrying milk and yogurt in these, if you pick up early enough, in these bags. Maybe not in defense colonies, but everywhere else. And outside the elite world, it's happening. So we have to be real. People need low-cost solutions, and I appreciate the speaker before me saying that research needs to bring that on. So for that also, we should not wait for the post-industrial economies to innovate. Innovation and tech capacities are located anywhere in the world. Pakistan, South, and all of South Asia has high-tech innovation capacity. These are things you can do at startups, at labs. The big manufacturers can find solutions. There was a manufacturer who had some, chemical in a fertilizer that we were having problems with internationally. The manufacturer, after 3 months, took a hit, but they changed it. They had the research lab; they could do it. So I believe that once enough consumer pressure, as opposed to just government pressure, falls on the manufacturers, the retailers, you'll find, if people are rejecting at the retail outlets that are pushing this and are not accepting the advertisements that are pushing it, or the marketing of bad plastics, then, honestly, all plastics is bad at the end of the day. Because we still don't have the technology, the capacity and the resource to recycle at the kind of scale we need to be circular. So it's not good enough to say, but this is a PET bottle and it says it's recyclable. Well, who's recycling it? Are you seeing a collection point anywhere? Have you ever seen a collection point anywhere? Why are there such secret black ops sites? So we have to find them, right? They have to become visible and part of our economy. It's just a lot of talk. And the business of separating stuff is very important. We need to start doing that to our waste in any case, organic, non-organic. But it's education. You can't police this. You're going to have to tell resisting, people have staff, they have helpers, that your kitchen will resist this, tooth and nail. Your staff will resist this tooth and nail. That's your most important intervention. Teach them what it's going to do to their future and its present. If tomorrow there was an extinction event, imagine you're in a Hollywood movie, and there was one thing that left an empty planet, it defined the empty planet, it won't be our blue oceans. There will be mountains and mountains of plastic garbage that any alien coming in would see or a satellite would catch. That's what our legacy will be. Mankind's legacy will be plastic trash in 2050 because there'll be more trash or plastic in even our oceans, which make up most of our planet, than fish. So that's our legacy. Everything else, if you want to focus on one thing, fight this. So I really appreciate the United Nations for this year focusing on beat plastic pollution. It's my bugbear for a long time. But I would like everyone to please become interveners. I know Mujtaba Saab wanted me to read out the 7 hours agenda that I've made up, but I think that's more for internationally evolved economies and for them also to rethink how the international and the Western world, the post-industrial world, also has to rethink how it's manufacturing and using plastics. The reuse is not particularly high. Our economies, without accounting for it, our informal sectors are actually recycling and reusing a high element of our material waste. I mean, aluminium, alloys, the plastic, and we put in a hazardous waste management policy. Because before that we were getting our shores, our shoreline, our beaches rather, our littoral as it's called, was being dumped. In a few years ago there was a huge dump of hazardous and mixed waste. Container upon container, was it 164, something like that? Jesus, 624 containers of waste. Containers of waste were dumped on Pakistan's shores. You can imagine what that did. And this was mostly the industrialized West sending their waste here. Because they couldn't recycle most of it. Guess what? Recycling is expensive. So dump it somewhere. So everybody, including South Asia, including Asian economies or less developed, developing and post-industrial economies, are trying very hard to forget about the plastic they're using. To just dump it somewhere, either their waste bin and forget about it, or dump it on another country's shores because they caught it too late. Okay, so there's a lot of plastic waste even in that. They're not going to disintegrate on their own. So all this talk, oh, we are sanitizing the world of plastics, is rubbish. The manufacturing is tripling. Just read there's no reading between the lines. That's the bumper sticker. The manufacturer is tripling. The recycling is only at 9%. Have you not since the 1980s heard nothing but recycling? That's where it's going? Obviously it's not. It will be dumped next on, I believe they were dumping on Somalia because we put a barrier up. China now has put a barrier up. Our oceans are not our dumping sites, so the government of Pakistan has taken a clear position. Now that we are going to begin the journey, we are very, very appreciative of IUCN for being partners in this journey and all other countries that collaborate with us, because we have depended on development partners and many countries, many of whom are on this table, to work with us for the higher technical capacity and other innovations that we need as solutions to intervene and to break this cycle. Because that's the darker cycle that has to be broken. We are not a circular economy, except in Karachi's Sher Shah area, which is huge recycled jugaad economy. It's called jugaad. All of South Asia reuses its stuff. We don't throw it away. But I wouldn't get into valorizing that. A lot of waste comes out of there, and a lot of disease and infection comes out of there too. The point is that the numbers globally on plastics are a disaster. We as citizens, manufacturers, governments, civil society, international bodies, and anyone else, including students, they're very important, because if students intervene, in cleanups and in organizing awareness campaigns and start taking positions with, as consumers, you will turn a page. There is nothing here that we cannot do. It cannot become insurmountable like those two K2 mountains. It all has to start at home, at your workplace, and inside of your own self. You make the decision. Stop saying, but the government has banned this, nothing's happening. You are what's not happening. It's not the policing. It's extremely frustrating to put in regulations and laws and then, hold me by the neck if I'm abusing it or not helping with enforcement. We have EPAs running around all over the city. And there are leakages in enforcement everywhere. In all of South Asia, there will continue to be. But can we start today with making the change? If Serena can do it, and we're all privileged enough here to be at Serena, then this entire room can do it. And that in itself will start a small revolution. So thank you very much.